Morning, County Council. Just before we begin, I will note that it was on this date in 1810 that the German festival Oktoberfest was first held in Munich to celebrate the wedding of Bavaria's Crown Prince Ludwig and Princess Therese of Saxe-Hildburghausen. So any of you that are involved with Oktoberfest anywhere, now you know when it started. I don't doubt it. So if you join me, we'll rise and sing the national anthem.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you take the roll call, please?
Councillor Mackey,
Present.
Councillor McKay, Councillor Carlton, Councillor Pringle, Councillor McQueen, since his regrets at this time, Councillor Nielsen, Councillor Patterson, Councillor Dickert, Councillor Kentner, Councillor Keaveney,
Present.
Councillor Body, Councillor Gregg, Warden Milne,
Present.
Councillor Dobreen, Councillor Matrosovs, Councillor Bourdignon,
Present.
Councillor Eccles, Councillor Hutchinson.
Present.
So we have all members in attendance with the exception of Councillor McQueen.
Thank you. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge with respect the history, spirituality, and culture of the Anishinaabe, Six Nations of the Grand River, the Haudenosaunee, the Wendat, Wyandot, Wyandot peoples on whose traditional territories we gather and whose ancestors signed treaties with our ancestors. We recognize also the Métis and Inuit whose ancestors shared this land and these waters. May we all, as treaty people, live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship with all its diverse peoples. Is there any declaration of interest related to any agenda item this morning? Seeing none, if one should arise during the course of the meeting, you can declare it at that time. We have two sets of minutes to adopt. The first is the County Council and Committee of the Whole minutes dated September 28th. Would someone care to, Councillor Body and Councillor Dobreen? Any discussion? All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. The second set is the closed Committee of the Whole minutes dated September 28th. Someone care to move those? Councillor Patterson and Councillor Nielsen, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. We have no closed meeting matters. We have the Grey Bruce Public Health Board of Health minutes from May 26th, June 23rd, July 28th, and August 11th. We also have Dr. Eyre here, thankfully, to speak to those minutes. Would someone care to move those? Councillor Carlton and Councillor McKay. Would you like to speak to the minutes, Dr. Eyre? Thank you for coming up the hill, so to speak. Good to see you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. So, Mr. Chair, the highlights from the minutes of the past few meetings lend themselves to two sections, one related to the board, one related to the operation. Related to the board, the highlight was there was addition to a member, provincial member and representative from the indigenous community, Nicholas Saunders. His position was approved from a guest to a provincial nominee. And that's one of the milestones in the connection with the work collaboration with the indigenous communities. From the operation, the main highlights are three. One is related to the opioid crisis, and we continue to work with the partners, the municipalities, the two counties, and the provincial level to do our best to reduce the number of deaths and the number of overdose if possible. And the highlight from the statistics was reduction between 21 and 22 by 50%. And the data in 2023 will be very consistent with 2022 and hopefully a bit less, not by 50%, but the trend is going in the right direction. And there are many interventions that are deployed under this category, open questions after if there is interest. The other update from operation is related to the flu and COVID new vaccine. And it's worth mentioning that the season in general is not different from other seasons for respiratory disease. The reports I read from the Southern Hemisphere would be consistent with normal season, not excessive in any way. Nevertheless, we know that our healthcare system, historically and continues to be stretched during this season. So again, the message to everybody to get their combination vaccine. I learned this term from a very wise man. He said combo vaccine. So there is the health unit is working with partners, and in October, the new vaccine for COVID will be for the priority population, long-term care, retirement homes, and lodges in the First Nation communities. And in late October or early November, the vaccine will be available to the general public, and we're working with primary care and pharmacies to ensure access throughout Grey Bruce. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'll close my update.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions for Dr. Era regarding those minutes? Councillor Mackey.
Thanks, Mr. Warden. Morning, Dr. Era. You mentioned that the reduction in the opioid use. Are there strategies that seem to be working or that we're employing right now? Is it enforcement that's working? Is it some of the medical strategies that are being employed? Can you just tell us what is working and what we can continue to do to help with that crisis?
Thank you. To be specific, the reduction is 50% in death related to opiates. There are many indicators, but this is by far the most important outcome, prevention of death. There are the issue itself with opiate is multifactorial. There are layers to it related to biology and pathology related to social individual behavior. It's very difficult to pinpoint where the benefit is coming from unless you do multivariate analysis. And those things are being done, but will take years to actually see the results that happened last year or the year before. We're not taking anything off the table. We're putting things forward. And I do believe it's my bias and the bias of many people in the field. Prevention is key. It was always been primary prevention, and harm reduction is called secondary prevention. In the past 10 years, rightly so, we, as a system, we push towards harm reduction to protect the people who have already fell off the wagon. People who are struggling with substance use need that medical attention, and that's appropriate. But at the same time, we need to look ahead 5-10 years and prevent the new generation from going that route. And I do believe the combination of these two major strategies are needed. And the physician consultant in the health unit, Dr. Zayed, has been very instrumental in leading the front on prevention and harm reduction, both of them. And that front is also provincial. We're leading a group of 10 health units in Ontario in collaboration with Public Health Ontario on two major research projects. Both of them have been very, very instrumental. One of them is related to youth prevention of opioid. And again, what we need to do, the specific question you're asking, what we can all of us push towards, I would say the wide array of need, and that could be different from an area to an area. And we know bigger urban centers have certain needs, smaller areas have certain needs that are different. And for example, the SOS program that collaboration among many partners, the counties and the paramedics have done a bang up job in leading it and working in it. And this supports that reach out to the vulnerable population that might not really served in big centers. I'll stop there. Again, I'm not sure if I answered the question.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor of receiving the minutes? All that is carried. Thank you, Dr. Era. Appreciate your time. Moving on, we have two bylaws to deal with, both at the same time, I guess. Is that correct? Yes. So the bylaws 5160-23 and 5161-23 be introduced and be taken as read at first, second, and third time, finally passed, signed by the warden and the clerk, sealed with the seal of the corporation and engrossed in the bylaw book. Would someone care to move that motion, please? Councillor Mackey and Councillor Dickert. Any discussion? All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. News and celebrations, always a highlight of the meeting. Anybody? Councillor Nielsen.
Thinking about, there we go. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to make note that this past week, Grey Highlands Museum, so it's been renamed from the South Grey Museum to the Grey Highlands Museum, did a grand reopening. The museum caretaker, Peter Whitehead, has done some substantial renovations to the museum and really brought the museum to kind of a professional standard. The curation, of the artifacts in the space is well done, with stories and plates to give you back to what's happening with the item and what was the history behind it. There's also a fantastic community wall that he's built where members of our community can share their stories of what and why brought them to Grey County, Grey Highlands in general. And I just wanted to kind of highlight that as we move forward with the museum, because next year we'll be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the museum in Flesherton.
Thank you, sir, and congratulations on that milestone. Councillor Carlton.
Thank you, Warden. This Saturday, Georgian Bluffs, in partnership with Cobble Beach, is thrilled to be hosting the inaugural Revolution Fair Plug into the Future, taking place Saturday, October 14th at Cobble Beach. And it was organized by the Climate Action Working Group, and it runs from 11 to 3 on Saturday.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor Matrosovs.
Thank you. Through you, the warden, I just would like to be able to share the good news that we had a very successful Open Fields Day on September 30th. And that date was allocated by all of the municipalities across Ontario that were celebrating it in the same way. So I wanted to share that news with my county colleagues to say that it was a phenomenal success. Every participating farm, we had 5 farms, 4 of which were in the Blue Mountains, 1 which was just barely over into the Grey Highlands side, as well as tours of our apple processing plants. We had 6 different stops for members of the public, whether they were visiting or residents, to come and learn more about our agricultural practices. And there was nothing but praise for the event. So I want to share that news because next year there'll be another date. And I would encourage any municipalities within Grey County that are interested in joining on with this and finding out about how the funding was supported for this venture. We can be able to share that with you, and farmer to farmer as well. So our host farms will be able to report report back the success it was and what it was like to welcome all of these visitors onto their farm. So please reach out if you'd like to hear more. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Counselor McQueen.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. A couple things. Grey County Federation of Ag is having a comedy night, Yuck Yucks and the Kinplex in Flesherton just tomorrow night. They're sponsoring the Yuck Yucks comedy series, and I think one of the fellows is from Letterkenny, and it's $55 for a dinner and the evening, and you can get that on the Eventbrite for tickets. Again, that's for tomorrow night. Come on out and support the Grey County Federation of Ag, because the money that's being raised is to build a barn at the Children's Village in I'm trying to think where that down just below Hanover there, the Saugeen's Valley Children's Village, and they have a sort of a barn, but they want to sort of expand it on safety on around the farm and that type of thing. So it's to raise money for that particular purpose. And we had a tour of there this summer, and there's great things that they're doing down there as well. I'm sure everybody is quite familiar with. So again, that's tomorrow night. Funds raised from that is to go toward that. Also, we had our annual Grey County Grey County Ag Services meeting last night. Kim was there and Scott was there. So Grey County does support them greatly, and they're very much appreciated to the support that is provided to Laurie and Ray Robertson and staff. Ray's sort of stepping back more and more as time goes on, but again, they were quite appreciative of that. Ray spoke to 23 years ago how the county stepped up to the plate and provided that space. And Andrew Berry, who's from Omafra, said it's like one of a kind in the province. He is so proud of having this ability to be part of that, what we have here in Grey County. So it's unique. It's not really offered anywhere else in the province. So again, kudos to Grey County and that support that space. And one time Laurie did talk about over 300 agricultural meetings held in that ag office. I know I'm part of Grey County Farm Safety, but there's a lot of Grey County Federation of Ag, but there's a lot of soil and crop. There's a lot of meetings that are held there. And they also have the winter program where they offer a lot of courses, and they raised, I'm not sure, over 22 or 24 different courses were offered there last winter. So check that out. There's a lot of great things coming up for 2024. So again, just want to iterate that they're very supportive of that space, and it continues to be well used and the bottom of the Grey Gables building. So thanks again.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Okay. Need a motion to adjourn our council meeting portion. Councillor Pringle and Councillor McKay. All those in favor? That is carried. So we'll just take a minute and let Rob